You go to your usual shopkeeper on Friday, buy a loaf of bread at 100 shillings and enjoy your breakfast. On Monday, you go pick bread, pay the usual 100 shillings, then the shopkeeper tells you to add an extra 10 shillings. You think she's joking. You turn around only to see pinned on the wall the new price list. Your money is apparently reducing its purchasing power by 10%. For some people, they can decide to not buy the bread tomorrow and instead bake at home, or even have another source of income that will supplement the extra 10 shillings to buy bread every day. If this happens to other commodities over a period of time, then inflation is occurring. Sugar rises in price, flour, services like transport, worst of all, a sweet you buy at 10 shillings every day gets to 20 shillings. When prices of goods and services increase and income remains constant, ability to purchase reduces. Let's dive into different inflation scenarios. There is a dry season and farmers harvested very little wheat. There is not enough wheat to produce bread at maximum. Other inputs remaining at the same cost, production cost increases. The bread will have to be sold at a higher price than usual for the company to make profit. Schools have closed and kids are at home, eating bread all day. Parents end up buying more than usual, but the bread company cannot keep up with the demand, so they raise their prices. It's December, everyone receives a pay rise and a bonus. There is more money in the economy circulating. The bread company then raises their prices to keep up with the high demand from the consumers who have a lot of money. Inflation can be both a good and a bad thing. For savers, it's terrible because their money loses its purchasing power over time as prices increase. If you saved 100 shillings, which could buy you 10 loaves of bread, then inflation raises bread to cost 150 shillings. Your money has reduced its purchasing power. Inflation rate comes with higher debt interest rate, so you end up paying more for your debt. That is because the platform you borrowed from does not want to lose the real value of the money they loaned you. For borrowers with loans at a fixed rate, they actually end up paying less for the money they borrowed. This is because the real value of the money continues reducing in comparison to the asset they invested the borrowed money into. If you had a piece of land or property you bought and let it appreciate in value, as inflation rate increases, you will benefit from inflation as an investor with an asset. In Kenya, if you were paid 100 shillings in 1960, that would equal to 100,266 in 2023, meaning that the 100 shillings has lost its value over time, but assets have appreciated in value. Like land which would have been sold 5 years back at probably $1 million is currently going for 5 million. Have you ever heard of the rule 72? It was discovered by a mathematician, Luca, in the late 14th. According to this rule, to get the number of years it will take to lose your money by half, divide it by the inflation rate. For example, if the inflation rate is at 10%, it takes 72 divided by 10, which is equals to 7.2 years, for your 100 shillings to be worth 50 shillings. Since the rate of inflation keeps changing, this Rule 72 by Luca gives you an estimation of what happens in the real economy. The same applies to investments. Divide 72 by the interest rate. For example, an interest rate of 15% per annum, 72 divided by 15 is equals to 4.8. It means if you invested 100 shillings, it takes 4.8 years to get to 200 shillings. During inflation, most people actually spend more money. They spend by either investing or just on depreciating assets and liabilities. This is because they realize that after a period of time, that money will have lost its actual value. Inflation is actually a good thing for exporters. This is because the domestic currency is depreciating in its value in comparison to other currencies. And so when they get paid and then convert their money, they are actually gaining more than they had actually sold when the market was not at a certain raised inflation rate. Lastly, inflation is not to destroy you.